my opinion, children need time to develop soft skills. They need to play, make friends, interact with peers. They need to develop active listening skills, emotional intelligence, problem solving. This isn't done by imprisoning children. This is done by giving them laughter, music, fun projects, helping them to think for themselves and develop critical thinking. In Europe, we don't have long school days. Children have time to play and make friends. We still produce scientists, doctors, lawyers, academics, brain surgeons. Children need time to be children.
I'm shocked at the level of pressure being put on these kids in schools, particularly in your home country, Korea. The thought of testing kids 2 or 3 years old, or even 6 or 7 years old, as a Westerner, shocks me hugely. Kids should go to school to have fun, to smile, to laugh, to enjoy life. And when they get more into their teens, okay, they have to take tests, we understand it. But making them do that as kids, where's the happiness? Where's the parks full of people? I really think that the Korean government has to look at it. Just too much pressure. Make the kids happy, make the country happy, make the parents relaxed. You need to change something, Korea, seriously.
This idea of children sitting for hours a day, I think it's maybe a little bit much. First of all, it's not appropriate for their development, I think. Children at that age need to be moving around. And yes, there is time for learning, but I think physical movement is so important at that age. And the stress put on them at that age, and the idea that, it's all about work and success at that age, I wouldn't do it, but that's me.
Hearing about the South Korean students and the children and what they're expected to do, it's unfortunate but not surprising from what I've experienced working in East Asia and with a lot of students. I previously worked for a company teaching Chinese students. After they had finished school, they'd come and take English classes with me. I'm reminded of when I lived and taught English in Japan. The students that I had to teach there, and they wanted me to teach very young children. But in South Korea, it makes me sad. I'm filming this about how I wish I hadn't wasted so much time when I was younger studying things that were not very useful to me later in life. Good luck, South Korea.
So I just watched this video and I really liked a lot of the points that were made. And to me, it's just wild about how school has become less and less about learning, like actually learning things, and more about just performing for the tests, performing for the grade, for the teachers and things. It's like kids are kind of being trained to be like little machines, instead of like people who have to, exist in the future and be like members of society. And it feels like they're really missing out on some of the best parts of childhood, or just enjoying it to the fullest. And it's like they're not being encouraged so much to think for themselves, more just to sort of regurgitate or say what someone else is thinking. And I really like the other part about the private schools in the video. That was really good. I feel like it is kind of unfair to basically price out lower class people from better education. We definitely need some worldwide reform to fix kind of education as a whole, because it's a little rough in some places, and it feels like a lot of parents are turning to private schools, and it's just kind of unfair to these lower class people who can't afford it because it's simply so expensive. and then they have to feel like their kid is getting a lackluster education, and that kind of stinks. So yeah, I just really thought this was great. We definitely need some reform overall, and good schools shouldn't come at the expense of having to pay for it, right? Everyone should have access to a good quality education. So those are my thoughts.